The controversy surrounding the NYPD stop and frisk policy continues. Recently, New York City Council members held a hearing to introduce legislation that would reform the policy, which of course many have called discriminatory and ineffective for a decade. There is a website called allthingsharlem.com that has been documenting some of these incidents in the community. Take a look.
I was walking down into the subway to actually go on my internship down on Canal Street. I walked, swiped my student Metro card. Everything was going fine, sat down, waited for the train. Two guys approached me out of uniform. They were like, "Come with me." So I was like, "What?" Immediately I got defensive, not knowing what's going on. I said no. They said that I looked older than my age to be using a student Metro card. A third guy came, put my face against the wall, and they both handcuffed me. And they were asking me, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm 15. They were like, "No, you're not 15. You're a liar. Where's your ID?" I said, "My ID got stolen at a party." I felt like a criminal almost.
In this video right here, we got two undercover cops that just stopped the vehicle, and neither one of the officers are displaying a badge. So it makes it virtually impossible for the motorists to identify them because there's no name, there's no badge number, so you can't later on file a report, you know, when your Fourth Amendment right gets violated, and it will get violated because that's what they do.
Joining us this afternoon is the man behind All Things Harlem, Joseph Jazz Hayden, who can update us on the recent outcome of his own case involving the NYPD. Also here is his attorney, Gideon Oliver, and Noel Leader, the co-founder of 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Mr. Hayden, I want to start with you. What made you start documenting these stop and frisk incidents and put them on the web under All Things Harlem?
Well, I've been doing organizing around felon disenfranchisement, for traveling all over the country speaking on that. And the funding for that work ended. And I began to look at the community. I'm a news junkie, you know. And so I began to, you know, watching the news, I'm saying, man, they're not depicting the reality of what's happening in Harlem. So I started a company called Still Here Harlem Productions. And it's allthingsharlem.com. And we begin, the first day we got the cameras, you know, we on 138th Street on Strivers Row in Harlem. The first day we got the cameras, we looked out the window, and the police had somebody, you know, stopped and frisked. And that was the beginning. And more that we began to look at what was taking place with police-community relationships, we began to realize the enormity of what was taking place in Harlem. From 110th to 155th Street.
And you wanted to document that.
I wanted to document that, man. You know, because I'm born and raised in Harlem. I come out of Harlem Hospital. And to see this happening, Harlem actually being turned into an open-air prison, right? It was no different than apartheid South Africa, you know, and this massive police presence in there. And then at the same time, you see all these Europeans moving to Harlem, walking their dogs after dark, you understand, got their kids out, they're out jogging and everything else. Well, where's all the crime and, you know, that these people are concerned with? You know, and
there's a strange dichotomy.
Yeah, it was just, it was a major contradiction.
And now you feel that your arrest recently was a direct result of your documenting these stop and frisk.
Absolutely, absolutely, without a question of a doubt. This was retaliation.
Now I'm going to we only have a short period of time, so I just want to summarize. You were arrested. Your car was checked. My understanding is that there was the charge was having a weapon, I believe.
Yeah, a pocket knife and a baseball bat. A
commemorative bat that's about this long.
That they sell in every
and a rusted knife that didn't even properly open.
When they opened it to check it 8 months later, the screw that holds it together fell on the floor. And it took them 5 minutes to open that.
And my understanding is that two of the officers, the arresting officers, were officers that you had caught on tape doing a stop and frisk.
Exactly. And when they approached me, they said, "Man, we know who you are." You know, the video has been widely viewed, and I think that's what kind of.
And Mr. Gideon, your attorney, you're here. Where are we with this case right now? I understand that really it's sort of been settled.
That's right. There was a long period where the prosecutor's office in Manhattan, Cy Vance's office, had filed a felony complaint looking to charge Jazz with 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon, one for the knife, one for the commemorative baseball bat. both felony charges, and rather than presenting the case to a grand jury and indicting him and moving forward with the prosecution, after a tremendous campaign, the prosecutor's office offered an adjournment in contemplation of dismissal with 5 days of community service attached to it. And recently, when we were in court, that's how the case was resolved. So as long as there are no rearrests within 6 months, the case will be automatic. And if Jazz completes 5 days of community service, the case will be automatically dismissed and sealed.
Now, I'm smiling because I know how he feels about this, but I want to bring I want to bring Noel in here. You've been here before talking about stop and frisk. When you hear this case and you hear that what sounds like retaliation for what he's been documenting, does it surprise you at all?
Well, unfortunately, no, because it's been the history of the Bloomberg and Commissioner Kelly tenure that these abuses have been on an increase ever since they've been into office. When Giuliani and the street crime was operating and we complained about the illegal stops and searches, there was only 92,000. These numbers have blossomed up to 700,000 documented stops. Now, we're not even talking about the undocumented stops.
And the majority of them don't really yield anything.
Right, they don't. The overwhelming majority of individuals are innocent. So it's evident to me that Commissioner Kelly, just like Chief Justice Cheney, believes that black men have no rights that white men or this society is bound to respect. Because these stops now are occurring in broad daylight. Under street crime, they used to just happen in the wee hours of the morning. But that's how Jazz can record so many documented illegal stops, because they happen so frequently. And it's out of control.
And Jazz, you think you're a big example of that. Obviously, you're not happy with this idea of having to serve community service for something you didn't do.
Man, community service is, they're going to have me working 6 hours, 7 hours a day for 5 days with no pay. I mean, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution said slavery was abolished except for those duly convicted of a crime. They're making a slave out of me. I mean, they worked people they brought from Africa, they worked them and didn't pay them. That's what slavery is, right? And they're doing the same thing to me here. That question, that issue there needs to be looked at by the American Civil Liberties Union, the National Lawyers Guild, and every other legal organization in this country, man, because if you're not guilty, what are they doing punishing you?
But could I make a quick statement? This is one of the reasons, and this is no reflection, or maybe it is a reflection on the legal strategy. That's why we encourage individuals who are innocent not to accept the ACD, to fight this case in trial. Do not accept. If you're innocent, don't accept the ACD.
Right.
Take it to trial, and your innocence should prevail if you go through the legal process.
And you have to have faith in the legal process.
It would be sure be nice if it were possible to have that kind of faith in the criminal penal system. But, you know, really what should have happened in this case is the prosecutor should have dismissed it. The prosecutor should have dismissed it outright. And that should have happened based on their own investigation and without the defense lawyers having to go in to inspect the knife, which is when, you know, we discovered that it was broken, that it wasn't functional.
And what does this say about, in your estimation, the city's determination to continue this process, despite the fact that it seems just so blatantly discriminatory?
It says that we have poor leadership in our community, especially political leadership. We have no confidence in this toothless tiger law that Jumaane Williams has written. It's not going to be respected by the police department. So it's just a sad commentary in 2012 that we can have over 700,000, which really amounts to over 1 million every year, innocent individuals being harassed and stopped and illegally stopped by members of the New York City Police Department.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop this conversation on that comment, but I suspect that we will be back here again having the same conversation.
Unfortunately.
Thank you all for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having us.